is Renee, and we are broadcasting live from Las Gatos, California. And I have a clinic here called Reformation Body Solutions, and we are an ideal protein clinic. And so I am so excited today to introduce one of my fabulous clients who has a long story of transformation. So this is Transformation Tuesday. So as you are going along, if there's something that really resonates with you, hit the heart button and share this broadcast so that other people share in your support groups. People need to hear other people's stories. That's how we all stay focused and support each other. It's good to hear everyone's story. So Anjanette has been a client of mine. I can't even, what has it been, a couple years, Anjanette?
November 2016.
All right, awesome. So she has a really special friend, Nancy, and Nancy has transformed herself and gone through ups and downs, and we all go through them together as a coach. And I know that Anjanette's a nurse, so you know we're in the care industry, the healthcare, the wellness industry, and we're here to help each other and to create a space where people feel comfortable to ask questions. So if you have questions while we are live, we are going to answer them. So put them in the comments section. And if you want to ask questions in the replay, just put them in the comments and we will come back and we will replay. We will comment on them. So Anjanette, tell us your story. Tell us how you ended up, going into surgery, and just kind of your transition as you've gone through that and into Ideal Protein, how you found Ideal Protein.
So in 2001, I was diagnosed with idiopathic liver failure, which just basically means that I had a liver that failed and the doctors couldn't really tell why. And in a period of about a year, I gained about 50 pounds. So I was given an option two options. One was to have weight loss surgery, or two, potentially not survive because I was not a candidate for a liver transplant since they didn't know the reason that I was having the liver failure. So in 2003, I had gastric bypass surgery, was by all industry standards considered successful, maintained 110-pound weight loss until 2014. In 2014, I took my last promotion to management and sort of went from a functioning, moving staff nurse, constantly seeing patients, to someone who became more sedentary, more meetings, things like that. And I had seen my doctor and they said, well, you gained 24 pounds. And I thought, well, that's not really so bad. And I thought, And they said, yeah, that's a half a pound a month. And I was like, oh, wait a minute. That was probably not a good plan at all. So, you mentioned my good friend, Nancy. Nancy has been an IP client for a long time. I saw her at Christmas time one year and she was like, no, I have this great plan. You should try it. And I wasn't in a place at that point really to do much about it until I saw a picture of myself when my youngest son was a senior at senior night. And I had this spare tire and I was tired all the time. And I thought, oh, I have to do something about this. So Nancy met me at the Reformation's office the Tuesday before Thanksgiving in 2016. And I met with Coach Judy, who was as sweet as could be. There was no judgment. She was warm and welcoming. And I signed up that day and she said, well, when do you want to start? And I said, the Friday after Thanksgiving, to give myself that time at home. And so it's something that I did for myself and I do for myself every day. So I'm happy that I did it.
That's awesome. So tell me, in all of the different things, and as you had told me before, you started out around 200 pounds and then you went to 250 in 1 year, and that's when they told you had to do this surgery. Once you got off of the having the surgery and you lost the 110 pounds, how were you maintaining your weight? Because I know that it's tough. I only have a couple of gastric bypass patients on Ideal Protein, and it really is a challenge, right? To get all your protein and veggies. How has this worked for you? How did it work for you in phase 1?
It actually worked really well because, interestingly enough, it is the program we should follow lifelong from post-surgery for the rest of our lives. It should be, really low carb and no bread and no sugar. So it was almost like going back to what I knew to do and was too tired, too lazy, too not wanting to do, for the last 4 years that I had struggled and really put back on that 25 pounds. And again, by industry standard, they considered me a success. I didn't feel like a success. And so when I went back to the gastric bypass surgeons, they were like, no, we expect rebound weight. Well, I didn't expect that. So eating the sheet was easy because I was like, oh yeah, that's right. We're supposed to have, all of these vegetables. We're supposed to eat only protein. We're not supposed to be eating bread. We're not supposed to be eating sugar. So it was fairly easy. And I don't know, I don't like the term dummy proof, but if you eat the sheet,
yes,
there's no real question here. Like, I sometimes read the Facebook blogs and I'm like, I don't get it. It's not on the sheet. So what are you asking?
Yeah, what's the question? Yeah, I love it.
Why are you having a question, right? There should be no question. So I found P1 really easy, and I liked living in P1. I did. It was easy.
Okay. So tell me, did you have to make smaller meals? Did you puree food? How did you handle the after surgery effects as opposed to someone that has, a normal working stomach?
No, because I was so far post-op that I really had a, what the doctors would call a regular size stomach at that point. So I didn't do anything special. Breaking up my protein was easy, was the biggest challenge, right? 4 ounces of protein in the middle of the day at lunch, 4 ounces of protein in the evening, which is what I should be doing, anyway. As I've moved through, 8 ounces of protein uncooked is not that big of a challenge at lunch and at dinner for P2, P3. So it was really no different. I did either the apple oatmeal for breakfast, or I did a chocolate shake. I did a spinach salad with red onions, mushrooms, and bell peppers at lunch with a chip of some kind, the chili Dorados or the barbecue crisps. Yeah. And I did my regular P1 meal at dinner, and then I had a snack. I tried not to do the dessert. I did the brownies for a little while, and I know you and I talked at one meeting, and you said, is it a trigger? And it sort of was, because it was sort of sweet and it was sort of bready, and I thought I better not even go down this path. So I stopped the brownies pretty quickly, and stopped having like a after dinner thing. I had a snack in the middle of lunch and dinner instead.
That's awesome. So what were your favorite phase 1 foods? So we got the chocolate shake, the Dorados, the apple or the oatmeal. What else? The soups. What were your favorites?
The broccoli cheese soup. I think when they released the risotto, the mushroom risotto, I liked it not so much as risotto, but I did other things with it, right? Like I made a soup with it, with escarole, with spinach. That was really good. I tend to be simplistic because I don't always have a lot of time. So I did Dorados. I still do Dorados or barbecue crisps at lunchtime if I have them. With a salad, but those were really the things that I bought the most. Chocolate drinks, premade, powder if we didn't have them in clinic, and then the Dorados or the barbecue crisps.
That's awesome. So, you didn't have any problem with phase 1. I know that some people struggle with having to puree foods and digesting, proteins and also a lot of raw vegetables. So different things for different people. So tell me, when you reached your goal, did you phase out? How did the phase out process work for you?
So I met my goal in April, while I had been traveling back and forth from February of last year through May, back and forth to Florida twice a month, where my mother-in-law was ill. And I phased off in April. I stayed at P1, I think through mid-June. And then you and I met and I said, can I move to phase 2? And you said, absolutely, let's try it. And then I stayed at P2. I tend to be a creature of habit. So I stayed at P2 probably through August. And then I started to go to P3. And then you and I talked again about how I was afraid to go to 4 because it seemed like a lot for me to eat. And we talked about how I could really live P2, P3 kind of for the rest of my life. And that's kind of what I do now. I live between the both worlds.
Okay, so how do you handle, like, you're in maintenance? How'd you handle the holidays? Was there any gain? Did you have to do a little reboot, or did you fly through? Tell us about that.
So I had, I built in some indulgence days, which I have done periodically since going to, what my maintenance for my own self. But I will automatically go back to either a very strict P2 or a very strict P1, depending upon the indulgence. So because my schedule's really tight during the day, I don't always get a chance to get to clinic when the clinic is open. So I manage at home, on my home scale, and I did not have any gain. I knew I wasn't eating as clean as I could around the holidays, but I didn't have any gain. So my goal was to go back to eating cleanly, make sure I got all of my vegetables in, where I might have been a little, okay, yes, I had 2 cups, but I didn't have 3, or yes, I had 3 cups, but I didn't have 4. Really cut back. I had a couple of desserts over the 2-week holiday, really go back to none of that. I traveled to Greece in January. I didn't have such nice weather like you did, so there were no tomatoes in season, because I was like, Renee had tomatoes. I could have tomatoes. There was none of that. But I did manage with salads at lunch. I brought chocolate powder drinks for the morning, and just really did a very, much a P1 sort of protocol the week I was in Greece. So I did okay.
That's awesome. That's how there's nothing wrong with keeping it real when you're on vacation. I mean, that's just part of life. Don't you think? It's like, you don't need to go, off the rails just because you go on vacation. So
and I was afraid too that I didn't want to be sick if I haven't had any dairy since I started IP, other than 1 ounce of milk that I put in my coffee. So I haven't had yogurt or anything like that. And I didn't want to indulge on that stuff while I was away. I was afraid of getting sick. My stomach hasn't had it. I didn't want to eat bread or, the pita or anything like that, because I didn't want to be tired. I wasn't going to be there, 6 weeks. I was only going to be there 6 days. So I wanted to see things and be present in the events, and do different things. So it was really kind of easy, but because I just pretended it was at home and I was having lunch with a friend. It was no different.
Well, also, and I think you bring up a really good point, is when I'm away, if I'm feeling all bloated and gross and, I ate a whole bunch of things that didn't process properly, because, we both know that as we get, as we start aging, I'm 56 and my digestion doesn't work the way it once did. Yeah. So, I don't want to feel crappy when I'm on vacation. I want to jump out of bed and go, tour the Pantheon or wherever you were at.
Right. That's right. That's exactly right. When we eat to the point where we're sleepy, I wouldn't have been able to climb all the steps to the Parthenon. I wouldn't have been able to go to the flag or, really enjoy the museum or the town. I wear I don't wear a Fitbit, but I wear something like it. And one day we logged 25,000 steps.
Oh, I know.
I never would have been able to do that eating pita. So
true. You just want to go home and take a nap.
Yeah.
Okay. So if you are joining us live or if you're watching this in the replay, please feel free to comment. If there's something that resonates with you on this subject, send us your hearts. And we hope that you will share this broadcast with people that you know need to get healthy and need some inspiration. So, Anjanette, just a couple more questions that I have for you. What are the habits and the lifestyle changes that you have made permanent that you did not make permanent when you first lost all of your weight? What's the difference between post-surgery and post-phase 1?
I think there's a couple things. One, it's the amount of work that one has to do to recognize why we eat. So that emotional workshop, I really had to spend a lot of time, in my own head about what is head hunger versus what is stomach hunger. Am I emotionally hungry or is my stomach like growling, right? So I think that's recognizing why we eat or why we go to put something in our mouths. That was the thing I had not really done well. I'd done it, but not well. I think, we joke, right, on our Facebook group about Shop and Chop. So I have Shop and Chop day at home, which I never did before. Planning, shopping, coming right home, prepping the vegetables, getting them ready to roll, having an extra packet. It may not be my most favorite packet, but keeping extra packets in the closet, in the car, in my desk, in case for some reason I'm caught short or I'm working longer than I had planned. My water. I hate water. I really do. But our flavor enhancers make it easy to drink water because the tangerine water enhancer is really good, right? And I've made ice cubes out of it and I've made popsicles out of it. And, you can do a lot of things with it. I can't wait to try the watermelon hibiscus drink.
My God, it's so amazing. I love it. And I will even add like a half a packet of my BCAAs because I take those for, lean mass retention. Just at my age, I have a hard time holding my muscle. And so, yes, it is so good.
Okay, so things like that. You posted a comment from one of your clients about juicing their vegetables. That was Saturday. And I happened to be at Whole Foods and I was like, oh, you know what? I'm going to try that. So I went right back around and I tried it. I'll have to tweak the recipe just a bit. It was different. I never would have tried it.
We're used to juice that has a bunch of fruit and other like apple juice as the base or yogurt as the base or even frozen yogurt as the base. That's going to taste a lot different than just greens.
Yeah, definitely. So that I would
add some stevia to it,
Yes, I did add half a packet. I never would have done that in the past. I think the other thing is, I tried okra. So I'm willing to try new things, right? I have both of Janeva's cookbooks, which I swear by to this day, even in maintenance. I never would have tried okra. I air fried it. I ate it and I thought, this is not half bad. So I think, I've always cooked 2 meals, right? My kids ate one way. I ate another way. They're not in the house anymore. That's different. So I have the luxury of being able to try things that 13 years ago when I was a new post-op patient and my kids were 3 and 6, I never would have done. I just got through the day, right? What was the next thing? So there's lots of things that IP has taught me and still teaches me to this day that are really lifelong lessons that I walk away from and can quickly calculate in my head. I didn't have all of my vegetables. Okay, so for dinner, I can't have that. I better have zoodles and shrimp or some other thing. Right. And to just accommodate for that and not throw caution to the wind. Or if I have to have, a burger, I know where to go to get it and I can have it wrapped in lettuce with pickles and cucumbers and nothing on the side, no ketchup, and I'm okay. I've stayed on protocol. I've gotten all my protein in. I've gotten some vegetables in. I come home and eat a salad and I'm done.
That's awesome. It is, I can hear, I listen to all kinds of clients, as you know, and you see a lot of patients and hear a lot of things too. And we can make up all the excuses we want, but in the end, if we don't switch our mindset, if we are not really willing to make that permanent change where it goes click, and, we go, the light bulb came on. If I continue eating sugar, these are the top 10 things that are going to happen to me. If I keep drinking soda, these are the top 10 things that are going to happen to me. And when you start adding up all of those things that are going to happen in the end, whether they're tomorrow or 5 years from now, the bottom line is, what's your quality of life going to be like? And for me, we all have our triggers. So we all have our moment, our aha moment, as Oprah says, where it just clicks. And it might take 25 times to make that click. For somebody else, it takes 5 times. It might be that when you were walking through the office, you ran into the desk, not realizing how, big your hips have gotten.
Yes.
Or, you went, for me, I love clothes. It was going to the store and the lady telling me, honey, you are no longer a size 16 and you need to go to the women's department. And I didn't even know what the women's department was. So it's whatever your thing is that finally goes click, click. Okay, I'm done. And then understanding the journey and tell us a little bit about what kind of, like, when you have indulgences, what do you choose? How do you choose it? Tell us a little bit about that, because that's a key element to, weight maintenance, is not, going sideways when you have some sugar.
So I will tell you, last week is the perfect example. My birthday is February 13th. Valentine's Day is February 14th. Yep. So in previous years, if I had cake on my birthday and cake on Valentine's Day, it was no big deal, right? Last year was the first year I had IP cake for my birthday.
Awesome.
And I had to have IP cake for Valentine's Day because I really was still in phase 1. This year, I took a look at the week, knew what was happening. Tuesday was my birthday. Wednesday was Valentine's Day. But we were celebrating Valentine's Day on Friday with one of my sons. My older son is home he goes to San Jose State. Okay. So I did not I had IP cake on my birthday. I had IP cake on Valentine's Day. And we went to La Fondue for dinner. Wow. So I had my salad. I had my protein. And I took literally a tablespoon from home. And I took in the pot and I measured out 2 tablespoons of chocolate. And I had 2 strawberries because that's a low carb fruit, right?
It is.
And I had like a small handful of blueberries that I dipped in the chocolate. And that was my indulgence, because anything else was going to be horrific on me the next day, right? Yep. So it was easy. I enjoyed the chocolate because I didn't have any for all week long. I had been looking forward to it. It was not about the food. It was about the people I was with and the reason I was there, which was a complete mind shift for me. It had always been about, I'm Italian, so it's always about the food, right? What can I feed you? How can I feed you? Oh, you're happy? I'll feed you. If you're sad, I'll feed you. If you're crying, I'll feed you. It's always about feeding you. And this time it was not. It was, and for the last year, really, it was about the people I was with and why we were together. And that's a big difference. That was a big difference.
I have to say that over time and over my path, that's what happened too, because food was a reward for me. Yeah. So I started my first business at 24 years old. I was working like crazy. I ate every meal out and I could not wait to think about what the next meal was going to be. The big, huge breakfast with the hash browns and coffee and everything. And then at lunchtime, I would love a Reuben dipped in Thousand Island dressing.
Oh, for sure.
Maybe double thousand. And, French fries and the whole thing. And evening time, boy, when I started with, appetizers, soup, salad, entree, dessert, wine, after dinner drinks, coffee. By the time I hit home, boy, what do you think I felt like?
Right. Exactly.
You don't actually even recognize that you feel bad because you're so used to feeling bad.
I think, too, one of the things that IP has taught me is I'm not a good judge of things by my eye. Right? Even a year and 3 months or whatever it is later, I needed to take the tablespoon with me to the restaurant. I knew it because I've spent a lot of time going, well, it looks like it's 2 teaspoons. It looks like it's 4 ounces. And if I put it on the scale, it might have been 6 or 7 ounces of meat that I was trying to cook, or it might have been 3 ounces of vegetables, which in and of itself is not a big deal, but you have to retrain the mind. What does it really look like? And I'm still not good at it. So I just take what I have to do to make it work for me. This is my new normal. New normal is you measure your chocolate or you measure your cake or whatever it is.
I love that. Those are amazing tips for people. So, last question. What do you eat in maintenance? Because a lot of people, that is one of the biggest questions I get is like, well, what can I eat? What kind of fats can I have? What kind of carbs? How much of this and that? How do you determine that? Do you log a diary? What do you do?
I do. I log a diary. I use an app for it, but because I really still kind of live in P2, P3, there's not a whole lot of the fat stuff that I really go toward. I really will get whatever fats from, whatever meat I'm eating. The things I eat in maintenance kind of look like your traditional IP kind of client, because I'm not afraid of not being with, on IP per se, but I find tremendous ease in it. It's easy to plan my day. It's easy to plan my week. So I will have 2 eggs and sauteed spinach and bell peppers for breakfast with a piece of toast. The Dave's, low carb toast. I don't put really anything on it. I'll eat it dry and I'm okay with that. I have a salad with chicken or with fish for lunch. Dressing is still a squeeze of lemon or sometimes nothing if I have tomatoes in it, because the tomatoes have a little bit of liquid.
Yep.
If I have some Walden's Farms at the office, I'll use that in a pinch. My snacks, I haven't snacked in the last week or so because it was my birthday and all. And dinner is the same. It's vegetables and it's a protein. I did try like a half a sweet potato one day last week. I felt a little more full than I would have liked. So maybe a quarter next time. I'm trying to figure out how beets might play into this because I've been kind of craving beets. I don't know why beets, but to see how it works and what does the scale do and how do I feel, right? Because it's not always about the scale, but how do I feel? So I basically still eat the sheet. I eat a phase 3 sheet.
I love it. And I have to say, I quit eating. I've been ketogenic since I was probably around 38 years old. So about 18 years. Periodically, I always tell everybody my indulgence, there are 2 indulgences that I like. I like sweets. I try to stay completely away from sugar because sugar can just take me right off the rails. Yeah. But like once a week, I like to have a small bowl of homemade pasta, no preservatives, no bloaty stuff. I don't feel bloated afterwards. But the sauce I choose is just olive oil, garlic, red pepper flakes, very simple al olio sauce. And if I have a piece of bread, it has to be something that I know has been homemade, whether it's in a restaurant, they make their own stuff, or at home, because otherwise I just get bloated. I don't eat dairy anymore either. Ideal Protein taught me that because when I was ketogenic before that, I thought, oh, sure, I can have half and half and this and that. And I realized that I was not processing it well. And I was starting to sort of go back up the scale again. And it just I didn't feel good. Yeah. So when I got, and trust me, I'm a cheese lover.
Oh yeah. I love cheese.
Things that she's did to me wasn't a pleasant thing, whether it was one way or the other, and we don't have to talk about that.
I get you.
This has been wonderful. I wish we had more time. I actually have to run off. I'm going to go get a massage.
Oh, nice for you.
I know, but thank you, Anjanette, for sharing your story and all of your tips. I know that they'll be so helpful to people that are on Ideal Protein Phase 1, to anybody that is struggling, who needs to know that, you know, there's a beginning, there's an end, there's a journey, and it keeps going, and it's just traversing that and you know, doing our own work, which is emotional work. It's up here, it's right here, having self-love, and you know, supporting you. You are a great support system, I know, for your friend Nancy, and Nancy, back to you.
Yeah,
and
definitely.
how, you know, creating support systems to help us achieve our goals. So is there one last tip that you'd like to share with people?
I think, you know, the thing would be is, if you are off the rails, just come right back. IP gives you that, right? I am an IP client on the day I signed up. I'm an IP client today, even though I may only get into the office once a month or once every other month. Just come right back. It's easy to do that. It's easy to get off, but it's easy to come back. And that's, I think, the biggest thing, you know.
Absolutely.
It's a soft place to land.
That's a wonderful, wonderful tip. And just knowing that your coach is there for you. There is never any judgment and shame. You don't have to try to lose your weight back to where the last time was that you were at the clinic so that you can come in at that note. Come in on whatever note you're at, and you just keep on moving down the road. And like I said just recently in a video, you know, our ups and downs start going from here to these little ups and downs. So, you know, our journey gets easier as we go, but we have to stay on the journey. Before we go, Erica is online here. She's also from our clinic. That's what I'm doing tomorrow. I'm going to have a mug cake with Walden Farm caramel drizzle for her birthday.
Oh, good for her.
I just saw her in the office today. I'm going to post her picture. She's done a great job. I got to look at her picture here so that I can tell you exactly what she lost, and at 42.7 as of today. And she went through the Christmas holiday. She started on December 10th. So
wow.
Yeah, it's awesome. Thanks for sharing.
That is great. Good for her.
I'm going to say goodbye. Thank you so much, Anjanette. And follow us, share with us, send us your hearts and your love, and send us your questions in the comments. Even if we're offline, we will respond to you. So have a great Tuesday, Transformation Tuesday, you guys.
Thanks, Renee.
Bye.